economy, abortion, the border, issues that matter to you. AZ's On the Fence. Now here's your host, Drew Grunwald.
And welcome to AZ's On the Fence. I'm your host, Drew Grunwald. We've got a great show for you today. We're going to be joined by State Senator from Tucson, Priya Sundareshan, running for re-election, Legislative District 18. And we're also going to be joined by State Senator Anthony Kern, who's running for Congress, District 8. Welcome to the show. Anthony Kern, your Legislative District 27. You are an incumbent and you are running again, but not for state senator. Let's talk about the position that you're running for and what you hope to accomplish by representing Arizonans in Washington.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Drew, for having me on the show. I really appreciate the opportunity. As you said, my name is State Senator Anthony Kern. Very well known in the political world. I am a current state senator at the Arizona State Senate, of course, and running for Congress in Congressional District 8, which entails the cities of Sun City West, Peoria, Glendale, Anthem, New River, and parts of West Phoenix. Honored to run, honored to be on the show.
Thank you. And thanks for I know a lot of people don't necessarily know what district they're even in. So,
right.
Thank you for identifying that, and we appreciate your service. I mean, being an elected representative is kind of it seems to be a very thankless job sometimes. Try as you hard.
It is.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it does. It wears you out at times. I mean, so I was just talking. I was at just got home from the funeral of previous Speaker Jim Wires, and because I know the Wires family, I know Mayor Wires, and I know in being in the political world, it's in my district, and I wanted to show up and pay my respects. Talking to a previous person that I worked with at the state house back a few years ago. And I asked him, I said, would you ever come back? He's like, no. He said, there's a lot of lost souls down there. And I had to laugh because there is, I think the lost souls run for office. And I kind of laughed at that, but there's probably some truth in that. So it is a thankless job.
It for sure. And unfortunately, and no matter how hard you try, you can't please everybody. And it seems like the polarized ends of it are the ones that can really come at you, whatever side of the aisle you're on. And it can be ugly. And it's very difficult. Let's start with this. In a few words, I'd like to ask everybody what their elevator pitch is. So if I jumped on the elevator with you and we were going up 30 flights, and I asked you, what your key points were, what your platform was, what you want people to know about you. Let's hear it. I want the folks listening to know what it is about Senator Anthony Kern that puts you in the position that you are, and why folks should vote for you.
Yeah, sure. So for such a time as this, I am a proven fighter with a proven conservative voting record. You will never guess where Anthony Kern is going to be on any issue. I represent my constituents very well. I have like I said, a proven conservative voting record. I'm rated 100 by the American Conservative Union. I'm rated 100 by the Arizona Free Enterprise Club. I'm a member of the Arizona Freedom Caucus. I was endorsed by President Trump for the state Senate. I'm a precinct committeeman. I'm a state committeeman. I'm a member at large for CD8. I recently was a top vote getter to represent the Arizona Republican Party at the National Convention in July, where we will pick Donald Trump as our next candidate for president in November of 2024. So I'm a boots on the ground guy. Unlike my opponents, I am not a millionaire. I grew up in central Minnesota, 13 brothers and sisters, small farm, raised very well, raised to fight for my country. I'm a strong Christian. I go to Peoria Church, Fresh Start Church in Peoria. Solid in what I believe, solid in this country, solid in my faith. I'm a proven warrior, and that's why I'm running.
That's fantastic. And you've done that here on the state level. What do you think is going to be different if you win the election and you represent us in Washington?
Not much is going to be different, other than it's probably going to be a lot more time away from my family. There is the price that the family pays. Again, I am not beholden to the lobbyists. I am not beholden to the system. I'm not beholden even to the Republican Party. I'm beholden to my constituents. I'm beholden to my God, and I will fight for this country. 1776, the founders gave their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor. They were businessmen. They were wealthy men, but they laid it all on the line to see a country being formed at the time that eventually became the greatest nation ever known to mankind. And now in 2024, it's our turn to turn this country around. We are we are looking across the nation. We are seeing what the Democrats are doing to our country, what the current Biden administration has done with open borders, with inflation. You see what's happening on our universities with Israel, all of the above. We cannot afford to have somebody in office that's going to play games and play politics. You've got to have a fighter that's, again, going to stand for what's right. I am a member of the Arizona Freedom Caucus. I will be a member of the House Freedom Caucus. And I'm a proven guy, a proven conservative with a spine that's willing to stand up.
Spine is good. I hate when people say one thing to get elected and then behave completely differently once they get into office.
Happens all the time. In both parties.
Certainly does. Yes, in both parties, for sure. Hey, let's talk about a really important vote that just happened here. A new law got passed and an old law was defeated. And where do you stand on that? Are you happy with the result, or would you like to have seen something different?
Yeah, we should have kept the law in place. The Democrats and the establishment and the media, the fake news media, they tried to make it sound like it's so archaic. It's an 1864 territorial law, by a bunch of white men, a bunch of racists that wanted to keep women oppressed. When in reality, it was actually codified in our state statute in 1977 by a Democrat governor, Raul Castro, and even voted on by a Democrat-controlled state Senate at the time. And another caveat that a lot of people don't know is Leila Alston, a state senator, Democrat, who's still serving at the Capitol. She voted for the 1977 law on this abortion ban. And so yesterday, the vote, very disappointing because the Democrats are all in lockstep in basically murdering a baby at 9 months, pulling a baby out of the womb, dismembering that baby, stabbing the baby in the back of the head, sucking out the brains, delivering a dead baby. We all remember the partial birth abortion nonsense back a few years ago, and we were all appalled and aghast at that happening. Now, today, that's acceptable in our society. The Democrats are in lockstep. Why can't the Republicans be in lockstep with 100% pro-life? Pro-life, life begins at conception. If the public actually saw the aborted babies, the dead little babies, fully formed, burned in the womb with a salt solution. Senator Jay Kaufman, went through line by line from a testimony of an abortion doctor who's seen what was really happening and decided not to do any more abortions. And it was very graphic yesterday in the testimony of what happens. The Democrats say women's health care. Well, all of us are for women's health care. Who isn't? But this is a life. It's a beating heart. It's a little baby. And the Bible says when a nation sheds innocent blood, that's not a good thing. And the Republican Party, two members of the Republican Party, sided with the Democrats, which is also never a good thing. You don't side with the Democrat Party. Very little do they have that will help this country, will help this nation. It's under the guise of helping the country. It's under the guise of saving our democracy, but that is an absolute lie. Because if they really told you what they were doing, they would never get elected to office. But two Republicans decided to side with the Democrats, and those two Republicans need to be held accountable, should lose their seats in 2024, put in some good conservative Republicans that'll stand on our core principle of life.
It seems like our country's never been more divided.
Right.
At some point, we're going to need to reach across the aisle, and it seems like that's getting harder and harder to do. What is somebody like you in your position if you go to Washington? At what point can we reach across the aisle and make agreements that works for everybody and doesn't think that one member of a party or the other is jumping ship?
Sure. So the best thing about, I mean, it depends upon the topic. They all seem
Right.
to work across the aisle when it comes to budget. And we passed bloated budget, $1 trillion budgets in the past. So they all seem to work across the aisle when it comes to money. The problem with it is right now we have lost our way as a country. And when the Democrats say compromise, that means you go their way or nothing. When they say be tolerant, it's be tolerant only if you agree with them. So you can reach across the aisle. Look at everything President Trump has gotten accomplished at the national level. He's probably the most accomplished president I've ever known or seen, and it was in a few short years. And what I think he's going to do in the next 4 years is going to be phenomenal to the American people. So you can reach across the aisle, but it's kind of like strength through power, I guess. You've got to show the Democrat Party that you are not willing to bend on major issues such as life, such as our borders, such as elections. Pull them your way instead of Republicans always running with their tail between their legs and catering and compromising with the Democrat Party. When is the last time you ever saw a Democrat coming over to the Republican side? Very rare. So you talk about compromise, it can happen. But it's not going to happen through us going to them. It's going to happen through them coming to us.
Joining me in this segment of AZ's on the Fence is Senator Kern from Legislative District 27. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back, and we're going to talk about some more things. You mentioned it, the border, and some other things that we need that are current events that really need some focus and attention. But we'll be right back after the break. You're listening to AZ's on the Fence. Download us wherever you get your favorite podcast. We'll be right back. At A2 Luxury Real Estate, we're not your typical real estate agents. We're appraisers, finance professionals, and savvy real estate investors. Whether it's determining the right selling price, connecting you with local and global buyers, or guiding you through all aspects of the sale, we are your partners every step of the way. We're passionate about real estate, and we know luxury. The pinnacle of luxury starts with A2 Luxury Real Estate. Visit us at a2luxre.com or call 602-888-1433. Realty One Group. And welcome back to AZ's on the Fence. I'm your host, Drew Grunwald. Joining me this segment is State Senator Anthony Kern of Legislative District 27. We just, the last segment we talked about abortion. You touched on, our economy and the border. I'd like to ask you some more. What can we do? When we talk about the border, there's a humanitarian side, a security and legal side. And it seems like depending on what side of the aisle you're on, you're going to focus on one of those things or the other. The border seems to be a mess. And what are we going to do to fix that? What are you going to do to fix that, Senator?
Yeah, thank you, Drew. Yeah, I'm going to stand with President Trump. He was the only president I've seen that had the border under control. My first president that I voted for was Ronald Reagan. And he did a good job, except he did an amnesty back in '86, which wasn't a good thing for the country. So if you talk about humanitarian, what about looking inside our own country? What about looking at the Americans that have died under the hands of illegal immigrants? What about instead of giving money and $5,000 checks and really nice, lush hotel rooms to illegals, why not give that to veterans or to working moms or to families that are struggling with this 25-30% inflation? So, we need to shut our border down. We have illegal immigrants from over 160 plus countries. If you remember, Drew, what happened on 10/7 in Israel, if you remember back in 9/11 of 2001, 2001, every 9/11, I go back on my YouTube, and I watch the videos of those towers falling, of those Americans jumping out that window of 110-story twin towers in New York City. I remember that, and I bring up those emotions. When 10/7 happened, of pregnant women being cut open, of babies being dismembered in front of their parents, of women being raped, I listen to those testimonies, and I will do that every 10/7 in remembrance of what happened, because there's evil in this world. And by allowing our southern border, the Democrats say it's compassion. It's not compassion, it's a vote. They're going to turn those 10 million illegal immigrants into a vote to keep power and to keep money. We need to shut our borders. We need to deport every illegal immigrant that is in this country, and they can come through the right way. Drew, I know people from Romania. I know people from Austria. I know people from Mexico. My wife is from Honduras. She did the right thing. She came in, she became an American citizen. It's a long process, and we need to maybe look at the process and the expense of it, because everyone I know that is here on a work permit, they're struggling to try to become legal because of the system. The system sucks. I get that. But we cannot continue to allow Americans to die or illegals to be fed when our veterans are not. We cannot continue down that path. So I would do everything I can in the budget. Congress has the power of the purse. I will stand with President Trump, give him the money he needs to to seal our border, both borders, north and south, shut, and maybe revamp our immigration system.
Thank you for sharing those views. And yeah, if becoming an American takes a lot of time and money, maybe we just need to fix that and allow people to come in legally and properly vetted.
Yes, I agree with that.
There you
go. Because at least that way, Drew, they're vetted. We know who's here.
Yeah.
We don't know who's here right now. And if you don't think they're not waiting to act, yeah, we got another thing coming. They're here.
So I want to jump to this. You have been a state representative for a number of terms, and you're getting ready to go to the show, right? Or head to Washington and represent Arizonans there. Tell me what you're most proud of as you were a Arizona representative or an Arizona senator.
Yes.
What's on your resume there? What trophies did you bring home? And what are you hoping to really accomplish when you get to Washington?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. That's a great question, Drew. So one of the first bills I ran was a Second Amendment preemption bill. We had towns like Flagstaff and cities like Tucson not allowing private citizens to own guns or transfer guns one to another. So because of our Second Amendment under the United States Constitution, that's illegal. And as we all know, or maybe some don't know, the legislature gives the powers to the cities and towns. So one of the very first bills that I ran was a pro Second Amendment bill, which allowed everyday ordinary citizens to transfer weapons to each other without having background checks, without having, the government get in their way. Because honestly, I do think that it is because of our Second Amendment that keeps our current administration from completely coming down on the people of the United States. So thank God for that. My other bill that I'm very proud of was a pro freedom of speech bill. Years ago, Drew, I was involved. I'm a strong Christian, and I was back in the early 90s. I was with about 13 guys. We went to a park in Glendale, and we street preached. And then we would go over to every July 4th, we would go over to Glendale Community College, and we would find an area where we could hand out, things about Jesus Christ and things about our church and little pamphlets, stuff like that. Well, one time we went there, this is back in the 90s, one time we went there, and the community college says, no, you can't do that here anymore. You got to go over to this free speech zone. Okay, this is a community college. My taxpayers are paying for it. My tax dollars are paying for it. They said, no, you can't do that here where the people are. You got to go way over there where there's nobody at. So I remembered that when I got to the legislature, that came up again. There was a young girl in, I believe it was Paradise Valley Community College, shut down because she was handing out the Constitution. So I ran a bill that stopped that nonsense. Right now, it was signed into law by the governor. Right now, college campuses, there's free speech all over the entire campus, as long as you don't interrupt a class. It's a First Amendment bill. So I ran two of the bills I'm the most proud of. One, a First Amendment free speech bill. The other one was a Second Amendment firearms bill. And that's just who I am. As you know, Drew, or might not know, I was recently indicted by the Democrat Attorney General as one of the Trump electors. So I am, I'll be opening up a store here. I'll be selling my mug shots as soon as they become available. I'll be putting them on coffee mugs and T-shirts because you know what, lawfare is real, and they're trying to shut down the average person from ever jumping in. They're trying to scare the people. People are scared right now. Honestly, they are. They're scared for our country. They're afraid of what might happen, and we cannot again afford to elect spineless Republicans. We know where the Democrats are, but we cannot afford to elect spineless people that just go in and do the same thing because we've been doing the same thing. And the definition of insanity is do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. And Drew, that's why everybody resonates to Donald Trump. And that's why everybody resonates to Anthony Kern, because I'm not afraid of the battle. I was made for this. I am, again, a strong Christian. I know if I please my God, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, if I please him, I'm okay. He's got my back. I will do what's right. Lobbyists aren't going to control me. Money's not, because one day, Drew, I'm going to stand before my God and give an account. And that's what I live for. The Bible says, keep your eye on eternity. I do. As long as I'm here, I'll fight this battle. And I'm asking for your vote. The people in CD8, votekern.com. That's VOTEKERN.com. Would appreciate the vote and any financial support anybody can give. We're going to win this thing. I feel good about it, Drew. And it's an honor to represent the people of LD27 and CD8.
Well, and I love your passion, Anthony. It's fantastic to just hear somebody who's so excited. You've been doing this a while and you're not burned out. It sounds like you're just ramping up to go even harder, and that's fantastic. Let's focus on one more topic before we end the show. Gas prices, groceries, even insurance for cars and homes are through the roof. What can someone like you do for us, the little guy, when you get to Washington, if you get to Washington, or even if you stay home? What can we do with this inflation? What can we do with these prices to make things affordable for people again?
Yeah. That's a great question. The thing I can do in Washington, D.C. is, again, support President Trump's economic policy by creating more jobs, by less government spending. The reason why the inflation, let me back up just a minute. Drew, if you're going to destroy a country, you're going to do everything the Democrat Party is doing. You're going to open up the borders. You're going to disrupt our election system. You're going to create inflation up the yin-yang. You're going to give hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. You're going to continue to spend frivolously on stupid pet projects and pork barrel items. We have got to rein in the spending. In Arizona right now, I have a REINS Act, which allows, before any state agency can impose any regulation over $500,000 over the course of 5 years on any Arizona citizen or any Arizona business, before that goes into effect, it has to be approved by the state legislature. I got that from Florida. What we need to do is rein in these state agencies, these federal agencies, these bureaucratic nightmares that are out of control, take away their rulemaking, take away their enforcement mechanisms, let them live on last year's budget, and begin to whittle down our federal budget, our federal deficit. We still do not have a balanced budget requirement. They have, I don't remember when the last time they balanced a budget. Here in Arizona, you have to have a balanced budget every session. The only reason why we're there is to balance our budget, or to get a new budget and make sure it's balanced. Federal government, they don't. They spend us into oblivion, and I believe right now we're $34 trillion in debt. That has got to stop. They are deliberately, and it's both parties, Drew. I'm not just blaming the Democrats on this. It is both parties, and we've got to stop it. And that's why I appreciate people like Andy Biggs, Paul Gosar, Eli Crane. They're members of the House Freedom Caucus. They take a lot of hits because they stand up against the system. And the system is we'll put out this huge bill. That's why they ousted McCarthy, Drew. One of the main reasons they ousted McCarthy was McCarthy promised instead of an omnibus budget, it would be agency by agency. Let's look at the individual agency and see where we can cut, see where we can put back. But again, McCarthy didn't do that. So they voted to oust him. He should have been ousted. I would have voted to oust him because he's lying to the American people, telling you he's a conservative, telling you, I'm a fiscal hawk. But in reality, he's over there giving money to lobbyists, giving money to big bloated bureaucratic nightmares, approving $160 billion to Ukraine. It has got to stop. The mom and pop, you and me, the average citizen, work hard for their money. They're just trying to live a decent life, the American dream. We have got to bring that back. Trump will bring it back. Anthony Kern will bring it back. And I believe these members of the Freedom Caucus will do everything we can to bring it back.
Senator Anthony Kern, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. And Arizona's on the Fence thanks you. The audience is certainly going to take your interview and let's do what they will. It was your opportunity to influence, and we'll see what happens. Good luck to you in the election in November. There you go. And we are about 180 days from that very important election day. Thank you so much, and good luck in your endeavors. Thank you.